Hello everyone, Vickieverlie here, Rock and Roll Prophetess. Today we're going to talk about the second eclipse in the first eclipse series of 2026. That's a mouthful. And it's occurring on March 3rd of 2026 for most people, and it's going to be at 12:54, I think, but basically 13 degrees of Virgo. Now we're going to go through sign by sign, and I'm going to do cards too, and this is a psychic or intuitive reading, so if astrology kind of, bends your mind too much, just hang in there, because I talk in plain terms and make it hopefully easy to understand, and there should be a little bit of something for everybody. Okay, so again, my name is Vickieverlie. You're watching the Rock and Roll Prophetess on YouTube. Do not be fooled by imposters. This eclipse is the second eclipse of 2026. And it's one of, it may be the last, but it's one of the last. We're moving out of where we were having eclipses. We've been having eclipses in Pisces and Virgo. And this is the Virgo. And then we just had one in Aquarius, the earlier in the year, in February. So it's moving from this axis to this axis. So it's this transitionary period that we're going through, along with everything else, along with the Neptune-Saturn conjunction, which I did a separate video on. If you haven't seen that, check that one out. And I am offering the Aries ingress reading, which is going to be coming up like a couple weeks after this. But because I offer the Aries ingress reading every year, because it's an important time frame every year. It's the astrological new year. It's the zero Aries point, the zero reset point. Because this year there's so much going on with the Saturn-Neptune at zero Aries, the two eclipses, what I've done, it's listed as the Aries ingress, but I've combined them all together. So it'll be the Aries ingress, but we'll also talk about the Saturn-Neptune, and we'll also talk about both of these eclipses in detail as far as it relates to your chart. So if you want to get into that, always it's going to be through my website. But without further ado, let's get over it and start doing the sign by sign. Now, first sign we're going to do Aries. I mean, the spotlight's been on you so much, Aries. But this particular eclipse is happening in your 6th house of work and health. Now, it is a full moon eclipse. And there's a lot of energy in Pisces. I didn't mark it on here, but there's quite a few planets over here in Pisces at that time. So it could tie into something from the past from you that maybe you got to get looked at. It could be a job calls you back, or somebody that, some kind of business work situation could be coming back from the past. But for others, it could be some kind of a health thing. So if it's time to go for your annual checkup or your annual thing, go ahead and do it, because the full moon can make you aware of something. I'm not trying to scare anybody, and totally not health advice. Talk to your doctor. But also, it could just make you aware so that you could just take care of it. But it could also enlighten you, make you aware of, maybe since the last time you went, there's new treatments, It's like a lot of people say, well, I went for that back when, and it was this, and this, and I said, well, I'm not going through all that. But now things are streamlined and modified, or perhaps even seeking out, talking to people, maybe they say, well, I tried this herbal thing, or this, whatever, some kind of body movement, physical therapy kind of a thing. Getting your body moving is going to be really, you're going to see the part of your body that needs attention, and you're going to be able to work with that energy, and in new ways. Even though it's a full moon, I'm feeling like it's new ways. Well, because of all the, the Aries stuff in your 1st house. It's a new beginning time all day long. And then the Aries ingress is right around the corner. But health, work could be too. Could be work for sure. New work things, becoming aware of work things, becoming aware of some opportunity, a job you used to do, those kinds of things. But for most, I just feel a strong lean towards paying attention to your health, and not in a scary way, just in a getting motivated way. And I've always wanted to try this, thing, or I've always wanted to train for this marathon or do this thing. Well, now's the time to, really get in there and do it. All right, let's see what the cards say for our Aries. We're going to pull 2 cards here from our Hanson Roberts deck. Watch your stress. 8 of Swords is getting stressed out. And Queen of Cups. So Queen of Cups is water energy. So that's a Scorpio, a Cancer, Pisces person. But it could also be, this is water, the other side of that energy. Like I was saying, the other side of it is water, Pisces. There's going to be a lot of planets line up here in Pisces. This could also just be a person. I'm feeling like going back to this whole more focused on health thing. It could even be your mental health. Maybe this is a very kind, even if it's just a friend, a workout buddy where you guys can both, you know, talk about your troubles while you're doing walking or, you know, doing your workout buddy thing, you know. This feels like a kind ear, you know, somebody who has a kind ear. It could be professional, 6th house, it could be going to see an actual therapist or somebody like that. But it might just be, you know, you need to talk to somebody. You can't keep it all bottled up in here because you're going to drive yourself crazy. And they're giving me, you drive me crazy, ooh, 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 like no one else, ooh, ooh, ooh. That's an old 80s or 90s song. Wah, 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 wah. Do, 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 do. But anyway, so you're driving yourself. You can be driving yourself crazy. Well, there's a lot of energy in your sign and in your first house. There's been a lot of turmoil and different, you know, crazy stuff going on, and a lot of it is in the balls in your court. It's happening in your head too. The first house is your head, you know. So find a way to calm yourself down, interacting with other people, a therapist, a practitioner, or just maybe a good friend that you're going to go on daily walks and talk or whatever it's going to be. Find a way to do that chill out, and then this full moon can really illuminate that for you. And then when you get that chill out, you can't do when this stuff's going on, you can't think about anything. Everything, it just echoes out into everything. But then you get that nice cool water energy, like the pebble in the pond, and it echoes out. But once you get your head clear and get out of this stuff, then you can see clearly about everything, not just your health, about, you know, whatever's on your mind, whatever's been in your head and on your mind, you know, through physical activity too. That is a good way to, you know, de-stress. Okay. All right, Aries. Well, if you want to get into the Aries ingress, you of all people, I mean, there's so much to talk about for everybody, but it is available for a limited time this month of March. Right? That's what I'm saying. I was trying to say something else. My guys were coming through with something else. Month of March. March. What were they wanting me to say? March Mayhem or something? Oh gosh. But this will be the last month. All right, next we're going to do Taurus. Well, Taurus, this is happening in your 5th house. And then the opposing energy, or the other part of it, is up there in your 11th. So these are very much doing with, well, it's creativity, fun, inspiration. But right away, I feel more of a go towards people, you know. 5th house is love and romance, fun, sports, activities, doing fun stuff. Finding a new fun thing that you want to do that maybe is going to put you in contact with some cool people too. You know, taking up a, you know, they're showing me kayaking, they're showing me like pickleball, they're showing me like arts and craft, or, you know, doing art classes or things like that. And, you know, you could be meeting some cool people. You might discover this new fun thing that you really like. And for some of you, you might be doing this fun thing that you really like, and you might want to say, hey, I'm really good. I find like I can monetize this, and you might put it out into the world too. But for most, I feel it could be more of a time of really connection and connecting and connection. Okay. All right, 2 cards for our Taurus. Ooh, Tower. So could be some shakeups happening. News coming in the time of fire. Yeah. Well, you know, this is an opportunity. This is talking about this Aries ingress thing too, and all this Aries energy. Because this is that fire. When the sun goes into Aries fire, that's Aries ingress right there. And you know, it could be some shocking news. But the shocking news doesn't have to be something bad, you know. The shocking news could be, hey, you got this great job that you love, or your creative project is taking off, you know, 5th house, or hey, something really great happened for your kids that you didn't see coming. For somebody, for sure, their kids are going to get a scholarship. I'm picking that up really strong. If you were worried about how you were going to pay for college or whatever, somebody's going to get some huge scholarship that they all of a sudden feels like they think like I didn't have a chance. You know, it's a snowball's chance at hell is what I'm hearing. But bam. So it's showing the full moon on here too. So it can be this full moon eclipse. But then as like a week later or 10 days later, I should figure out exactly what it is. It's about it's actually a couple weeks later, but in March, later in March, as the Aries ingress rolls in. But this could also be referring to all the Saturn, Neptune in Aries, which is still active. Whatever it is, let's put it this way, whatever it is, it turns out to be an opportunity, or think of it as an adventure, or something really fun, or you know, maybe it is something's going away, because this full moon eclipse can eclipse something out of your life, and that could be the Tower energy too. But you'll find out whatever it's clearing away, whatever it's making room for. I feel like you're going to find out that, hey, this was, maybe you would have never left. Sometimes we need a Tower situation, especially you Taurus. You're the most stubborn in the whole zodiac. You know you are. You know, you maybe sometimes we need a Tower situation to just give us that jolt and that boost to go explore things that we wouldn't have, maybe have not explored. But it looks like it's going to turn out to be fun and good if you can relinquish the need to control everything and kind of go with that energy and say, hey, okay, I see that this is a blessing, show me how. You know, I'm ready for an adventure, okay? All right, Taurus. Well, thanks for tuning in. If we want to really look at it, you have to really get the Aries ingress, where we'll dive into everything in your chart, available for a limited time. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Gemini. Well, Gemini, this is happening down in your 4th house of home, foundations. Full moons bring awarenesses, you know, so, well, it brings culmination too. It could be something that maybe that house project that you've been working on since Virgo time, you know, is finally complete. That remodel, or that getting your house fixed up or painted. Or that move, you maybe even wanting to move since then, and all of a sudden here it comes again. The opportunity comes around again, and you know, you're there. But for many, if you want to go deep, because it could be career opportunities too. There's a lot there. You could move because of a job, an opportunity to move because of a new job or something, or you know, be on location for somebody. You may be on location for a while. Maybe doing like creative stuff, like you know, like a movie or whatever, or play. But also I'm seeing like contractors or something too, like big construction companies. They might have to move to somewhere to be involved in that in some way. Somebody might. But this full moon, what it can do, and what's the deeper, more esoteric, you know, if you're really wanting to go into the deep end with this, you know, that full moon in the 4th, that's all your ancestral stuff. That's all the stuff that you were raised with and all that. You know, you could have big aha moments about that. My guides are saying there's going to be a slingshot effect, and they were showing me this. So it's still going to, you could tie into the 10th house. So if you can dump some of that baggage, perhaps, that, you know, you've been carrying around, that slingshot effect, boom, you know, you could be 10th house, that career, that true north, that north star, that can unclutter, or you know, give you momentum, because they keep showing me like a bow and arrow or a slingshot, you know, more like a bow and arrow, but they're saying a slingshot effect. If you can go deep there and rid yourself of some of that, then you know, you could really take off in the other direction. Plus, you know, you got it. If you want to order that reading, we'll talk all about it, because there's going to be Uranus is going in your sign. Geminis are going to have a lot of astrological stuff happening too. This is a once every 80-something year cycle. So even if you are in your 80s or 90s even, you were just a kid when it happened before. So you really didn't, you know, I mean, sometimes it can mark big events, but for the most part, I just feel like you have to kind of be an adult to really experience a transit for real, you know, because you're not then. It just feels that's the way I think of it. Well, if you're over 100, you were in your 20s the last time this happened. I mean, there's people maybe watching that are over 100. Rock on with your bad self if you are. Okay, but let's go ahead and get 2 cards for Geminis, all right? Let's see here. 10 of Pentacles. So it could be some money situations. Selling or buying a property and home. I could see that. Hierophant is a larger group or organization. So that could be some big company that wants to invest in you, that wants to fly you to Rome. Somebody's going to be flown, wants to fly you to Rome to do some kind of a project or something like that. It does feel like there is like a suddenness about it, though, a quicksilvery kind of a thing. Like there's not a lot of time to dilly-dally, my guides are saying. No time to dilly-dally there, Gemini. They come up with some good ones, huh? But this looks like a lot, or some of you, this could be some kind of big banking thing. This could be like the banking institution or the stock market or government bonds or something like that, like you may be doing with someone, or have an opportunity to invest in something. And it could be very lucrative for you. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor for sure. Talk to somebody who knows really what they're doing. But big money changing hands, big financial gains and movement of funds around. And also with this Hierophant, what I'm feeling like is there's also going to be sort of a protection. Some sort of a protection around, like, well, I mean, it could be, you know, some kind of FDIC or whatever that stuff is, you know, that whole thing, that kind of protection, like legal things put into place. But this feels more like, I don't know, something else, something higher. You know, something like you might be being divinely guided towards, for some of you, if you attend any kind of religious service, and there might be a message in there, not meant to be a financial message, but it's going to be some kind of like confirmation or something that's going to give you like you're going to say, okay, that's a sign from the universe. I'm doing this. I'm going to invest in this thing. I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to buy that business. I'm going to sell that business. I'm going to take out that small SBA loan. Even that could be something like that. But I feel like you're going to be. It's not like, hey Gemini, invest or don't invest. They're going to be talking about something completely different within the, like, it feels like it's a religious ceremony of some sort, or maybe just, you know, services. But maybe if you are attending a baptism or bat mitzvah or anything like that, you know, who knows what. Somebody's on the pulpit talking, and there's going to be some kind of message, and it's just going to be like, wow, you just blew my mind, dude. You know? Okay, Gemini, well, thanks for tuning in. Hey, check your rising moon, all that stuff. If you want to get in and look at this astrology, this season is just off the hook. We've got, I'm sorry, I had a cough drop on, I wanted to get it out. We've got, you know, the 2 eclipses, which this will be discussed. We've got the 0 Aries, Saturn, Neptune, which will be discussed, and the Aries Ingress. So, I mean, chock full of personal information regarding your chart. Because it's not just going to be your sun or your rising. We'll look at everything. So it's good reading. And this year it's really a good one. So check it out if you're interested. Limited time offer. Here we go. Cancer. Get that little cough drop off of there. Well, Cancer, you know, it is crazy time. And, you know, we're all navigating through these crazy times. You do have that blessing of Jupiter, though. Lucky you. To be under the protection and the guidance and the guardianship of the Jupiter energy. So right now, this eclipse is happening in your 3rd house. So that's news, could be neighborhood, could be siblings, and it's counterbalancing. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the Pisces sector. So that's going to be 9th house. So you could really be learning, curious, if you wanted to take a class, or if you always were like, well, I always wanted to learn this thing. And maybe it just, you know, it never clicked for you. This could be a time where it would really click. It's like you could really, you know, get into learning something. Because that happens. That's happened to me a million times, but many times, you know. I'll try to learn something, and it's just like, oh, I just can't, it's just not clicking for me. And then a different time I'll pick it up, and I'll just click right through it, you know. So it could be like that. Maybe finding a different teacher, you know, or even looking at different teachers on YouTube, because that's pretty much everybody does anymore, right? If you want to learn anything. So it could be like that. It could be planning a trip or vacation. Somebody out there, I feel like you're going to find out that you have some kind of sibling that you didn't know about. You might want to, if you're curious about that, you might want to like do a DNA site, one of those DNA sites. I'm not recommending either one. There's the two big ones is 23andMe and Ancestry. I feel like somebody's going to find out that they have a sibling that they didn't know about. Wow, that'd be a shocker, huh? So, I mean, that's just for one person out there. Again, if we were doing your reading, we'd really dive into all of it. But news, communication, maybe surprising. Things being revealed that were hidden. Getting a big download, big understanding. You know, little things bringing bigger, larger understanding of the scope of things. Okay, let's see here. big decisions are being made by you or someone else. And then you have the Queen of Cups here. So the Queen of Cups is a representation of you. And it could very well be you, you know, and some part of it. But it's also like, I feel it's you communing with your higher self. I really do, for most people. Like this ninth house, like getting the. Now she's sitting on the beach with the blindfold on. This could be some form of meditation or a meditative practice that takes you out of your mind, you know. It doesn't necessarily have, maybe it's doodling, or maybe it's, you know, walking on the beach. I sit by the shore all the time on the beach, you know, and weather permitting. That's my meditation for sure. You know, but getting into that space where you are shutting out the outside world, and you are shutting out the monkey mind, and then you could get these big downloads, and then you could be where she can't see anything, she sees all. Like, you know, she sees all by looking in her magic cup here. That's that water energy. Here's all the water foaming on both of these, and you're that water sign, so that's that water energy. But for some, you know, this could be the outside influence. This could be the other person who's making this decision or contacting you, or, you know, wanting to get together and collaborate or something, or go on traveling together. Let's take a trip together, you know, something along those lines. But there is this beautiful meditative quality to it all. And that it could really calm your mind, and you can really, this would be a good time for creativity too, definitely. Writing and journaling would be highly, highly favored, my guides are saying. They're highly advised or highly favored at this time. Writing, journaling, discussion group I'm hearing. So maybe if you want to, in your neighborhood, maybe you want to attend some kind of a meeting or discussion group or something, or even like a book club with Ninth House Publishing. But I feel like you could get these bigger downloads from it, you know, with all this Ninth House here, and the way that, you know, this whole thing about what you've been blind to, you can now see. You can be revealed. All right, Cancer. Well, if you want to dive in more, we'll talk about the Jupiter. We'll talk about everything. That Aries ingress reading, it's really an all-encompassing reading of all the astrology at this time. It's not only about the Aries ingress. Limited time availability, only through my website. Check it out if you're interested. Okay, Leo, you're up next. So this is happening in your second house of money. So it could be some kind of money showing up somewhere, with the counterpart of it being all up here in Pisces. This could be some kind of awareness about an investment opportunity coming from an investment. If you're currently coupled, this could be through your partners. You know, your partner gets some kind of financial money opportunity, something along these lines. And, you know, it's full, you know, the eclipse can clip things out of your life. Yes, that's true. But I wouldn't get all freaked out about it, because there's some really, it's got some nice energy around it, I feel. I'm feeling a little bit of a calm on this, like it's kind of closing out the chaos we've been through over this last, you know, 30 days or so. You know, the Aries ingress is yet to come too, and there's a couple other things too. But there's always going to be something, right? It's always something. But yeah, it feels good. Fulfillment, abundant, awareness. You could get an awareness about some kind of hot investment, an investment opportunity for you, or become aware of an investor who might want to back your project or back whatever you're doing, or, you know, a scholarship, even some kind of scholarship or endowment, or what do they call that? Grant, like a grant. Some kind of performing art grant, I'm hearing, for somebody. Okay, let's go ahead and get 2 cards for Leo. 8 of Swords. That was in the last Cancer's reading, and it came out on the cut. I was shuffling the whole time. And then you have King of Swords. Now they had a different person, but it's kind of, I feel it could be a similar message. Like this person could kind of help quell this anxiety or any stresses. Well, I mean, everybody's freaking nerves is frazzled between all the astrology that's going on, everything that's going on in the world. You know, everybody's nerves are shot. Like my mom used to say, my nerves are shot. And, you know, this is that card of just being, wow, and being too much in your head. This is being too much in your head, or feeling overwhelmed, or feeling like there's just too much. I can't, you know, having a hard time figuring it out, having a hard time navigating and traversing through the various, you know, obstacles, trials, tribulations, etc. King of Swords is over here, though, and I just feel like he sees things clearly, or he's bringing in this shimmer of light, you know. Now, we did have the eclipse in, the first eclipse was over here in Aquarius, and that is your 7th house of other people, too. So, you know, it could even be something that was activated then, but that is coming to fulfillment during this time frame, because that's a lot of times how it is. The new moon is the activation, the beginning, the seed, and then the full moon, of course, is the fulfillment culmination. That castle up there on the ridge is really catching my eye. I just finally got to see the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein last night. I gotta watch that again. I love his films. I think he's just he just creates a vibe, and even the colors he uses, his color palettes, you know, they're just so cool. I just love his film. You know, you think, we really need another Frankenstein movie? Well, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But this is reminding me of that for some reason. I don't know what. Maybe, I mean, it might just be because I watched the movie last night, yeah. But I wonder what Frankenstein's monster, I mean, that's what it is. Well, the thing in that movie, with no spoilers, I mean, everybody knows the story, but it was two point of view. You know, it was, first half was dude's Frankenstein, and then the second half was the monster's point of view. I don't know. Something about this castle, and it's reminding me of Frankenstein. If any of that makes any sense to anybody, you know, maybe that's something. But it does feel like the way this is, like it's a light. You can't see, you're dark. You're in the dark with the blindfold. But then this person brings that sparkle, that shimmer of light. And could be something, you know, harkening back to that Aquarius eclipse, which was February 17th, I think. But it also could just be a person. I feel it is a person for most, who is an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. Or when we move into the time of air, which is not going to be any time around here. Not here. So there is help. Look for help. Look, it could help to talk it through with somebody else, or get some, because, you know, this could even be a lawyer. You know, it could be get legal advice or something. But I don't even know if I want to say legal advice for everybody. I want to say wise advice. And a lot of times these are free. There's an organization called, I think it's SCORE, S-C-O-R-E, and it's retired individuals who help young, you know, not nurture, what do they call that though? Where you're sort of not even an apprentice, where they kind of guide you, they show you the ropes, and they advise you. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the word I want to say. Mentor, they mentor you, there we go. They mentor you, and it's free. You know, they're retired, and they're just like, I need something to do. And, you know, they've got a lot of knowledge under their belt. It could be somebody like that for some people. All right, Leo, well, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty and the details of it all, what is this, fingerprints on here? You know, you can always order that reading. It's really in-depth, lots of stuff. It's not just the Aries ingress. It's the eclipses, it's the Neptune and Saturn, it's the whole thing. Okay, so here we go. Virgo, well, it's all about you. This is going to be, I think, the last one, but we were definitely coming to the end. You've been a couple years here, a year and a half, with these eclipses falling in your house. So when we get to the tail end of it, many times, this is when you get the blessing. This is when you can really see what it was all about. You know, because sometimes when we're in the midst of it and we're getting bumped back and forth and knocked all over and whatever's going on, we can be, you know, it can be jarring, and it can be, and Virgo, you like to, you know, you're nose to the grindstone, you like things organized, you like to know what's coming. You know, you don't like to be jostled about in the storm. You know, you like things to be predictable. So it's not been very predictable. It's been unpredictable. And, you know, chances are this could be one more unpredictable crazy thing too. I mean, it could be. But ultimately, the full moon is trying to make you aware. And the full moon is the culmination. So it's the end of this jostling time frame. And you could be aware of what it was all about. Why did I have to go through whatever I've gone through here? What did I learn? What was the lesson? What was the reward or the gift? That's what you want to think about. Okay, let's go ahead and get 2 cards for Virgo. Empress, see? You're coming out of that looking like smelling like a rose that somebody gave me. Who I am. That's been coming through in these readings lately. That's not the first time that song came through. Okay, Empress, and you get the go-ahead, it looks like. You're going to find out that you are chosen, you are the one. If it's been any health concerns, this could be a clean bill of health, but for sure talk to your doctor. If somebody's trying to get pregnant, this could be, you got the news, hey, we're pregnant. This could also be anything having to do with your mother, if your mother is still living, anything having to do with them. But ultimately, the Empress is just that card of, you know, abundance, fertility, wonderful things, you know, blossoming, blooming, the harvest after the time of the work and the struggle. It's the harvest time. This is the full moon, is the harvest, and things could start happening quickly. If you felt stuck, or maybe some of you have been waiting for funding, maybe even you're waiting on an income tax payout or something. So I've been waiting for the funding so I can do these things that I want to get done around my house or this and that. And bam, 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 it's all going through. You know, it's all going through, it's all happening, things are moving, you're on track. This is a wonderful, wonderful reading as far as the cards go. And, you know, I was feeling like it could be like the reward or the payoff. I mean, sure, it depends. You know, if you're not getting the lesson and you're still trying to, you know, hold on. But usually Virgos, you're pretty good about that. You're pretty good at taking direction. And the universe with these eclipses has been trying to show you direction. And you're pretty good about that. So hopefully it's going to go smoothly for you. Abundance. It looks wonderful in the cards. If you want to dive into your particular chart, of course I do have that Aries ingress reading, which encompasses all of this stuff, not just the Aries ingress reading. It's the eclipses. It's this whole season, this early season of the year, available for a limited time. Check it out if you're interested. Next we're going to move on to the sign of Libra as soon as I get a drink. Well, hello Libra. This is happening in your 12th house. So this is like the cobwebs in your mind. What am I hearing? Only the shadows of my mind. Only the cobwebs of my mind. It's a song from 60s, I think, or early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. Everybody's talking at me. I can't hear a word they're saying. Only the shadows of my mind, or something like that. That's the song. Well, that makes sense. That perfectly makes sense because people are, you know, you're not hearing a word they're saying. You might kind of be a little bit in the fog or in the, you know, your subconscious mind. You're more inward. This could be inward. This is also very much relating to things from the past with the 12th house. Now it's opposing over here your 6th house of work, health, opportunities. An old job person from your old work could call you back. You may think about going back into a job or field that you used to work in, or even a place that you used to work in. Some people it's work seasonal. You're going to be going back to work for the season. Some old friend may come. Some of you might be getting the band back together. The old saying. Oh, that's always interesting. I've found these times when I've gotten the band back together. You know, it's happened. That usually at first it's like really great, and it's just like, oh, why did we ever break up in the first place? I really miss this. I really miss making music with these people. It's so awesome. Blah blah blah. And then it doesn't take long. What took years to build up, you know, before, it's in a pretty quick, you know, oh, I'm bitching about, I don't want to, bitching about learning your guitar part, or doing this or doing that, or fussing around with papers, not being prepared, you know, or, you know, not doing your homework, coming in, and what was that part again? It's like, oh, yeah, now I remember. Now I remember why we broke up, you know. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's going to be the case with you, but that getting the band back together, I just feel like it's not been a good thing for me every time I've tried to do it. These different bands. It's just like, the same old struggles emerge really quickly, you know. But it could be an opportunity for work. Or here's another thing. I feel like you could have some awareness of some skills that could translate. You know, maybe you know, I don't know, I'm picking up like word processors or typing or something. I think everybody can type these days. You don't even have to type, you can just talk right into the thing. But it's something like that. It's some skill that you picked up along the way that's going to come in handy, but in a reimagined way. Like if it's not, like, let's just use typing. I mean, that's a weird analogy, but so say you took, well, most people just are coming out of the womb typing these days, but like say you're an older person and you took typing in high school, you know, and you really couldn't get the hang of it, you know, and like that was me. I couldn't get the hang of it. If you have your hands in this position, then each key is only one step away. I could just never get that. And here's my mom. She could type like 150, 160 words a minute. And she's trying to explain it to me. And it's just like, well, I don't think typing's for me. You know, I just don't think that's my jam, right? But, you know, now, because it... Oh, wait, some cards are going the wrong way here. There's a few. Well, let's put them down. I'm going to put them all down for you. But now, you know, I can type fast, but I don't use that formula. I use, I think, 3 fingers. I use my pinkies and these 2, pretty much. So I'm not typing properly, but I can type pretty damn fast because of just doing it. So that was a thing, like, okay, if you learn typing, like when computers first came out, you know, like my mom could have went in and got a word processor kicking ass and taking names because you had this skill of typing, you know. It's something like that. They're showing me that, but that's not it. But it's something that is kind of gone out of fashion or whatever. You didn't learn it to apply it to today's world, but it could be somehow. Maybe it's just sales experience, or yeah, I don't know. Just think about it. Okay, so we got a bunch of cards that flew out, Libra, so I'm going to give them to you all. Well, they were going the wrong way. I was shuffling, and there was this whole stack that was turned the wrong way. Okay, so this looks like earth sign energy, being, you know, having success in business after a time of waiting. I feel like you got to wait till the timing is right. Now, there is going to be a Mercury retrograde right around this time, too. When is that? Did I already get rid of my old last month's sheet? It's right towards the end of February. I think, yeah, we'll be in Mercury retrograde at that time, at the time of this full moon eclipse. Yeah, so Mercury retrograde could be like going over old things. There's an opportunity to have big success with like business and money transactions here. But you want to wait a little bit, or do your research here, or wait till like the Mercury retrograde is over, I want to say too, which I'm not exactly sure. I should have it, be able to tell you that information. I actually do have it because I'm doing my March reading thing right here. Mercury's going to go direct on the day of the Aries ingress on the 20th, yeah. Okay. All right, Libra. Well, if you want to dive in and really look at your planets, where all this stuff is hitting in your planets, I am offering that reading. I'm throwing it all into one whole package under the flag of the Aries ingress, but it's all of it. It's the eclipses, it's everything. Head over to my website because that's going to be the only way that you can order it. If you're interested, it'll be available for a limited time. Next, we're doing Scorpio. Scorpio! Scorpio! Well, Scorp, it's up in the 11th and the 5th. Social houses again, like I told Taurus. Full moon in the 11th. Do you really want a full moon eclipse in the 11th? Do you really want to be a part of these different groups that you were doing? You know, the 11th house is also money from the career. Do you really want to do this kind of work anymore? Because if you're wanting to change work, all this emphasis in the 6th house of the Aries ingress and all this other stuff, and then Jupiter moving up into your 10th, this next year could be a good time for many Scorpio risings, especially to maybe think about changing a career. Full moon, maybe you're going to find out. I feel like somebody's going to find out some shit. You know, you're going to find out that this person that perhaps that you thought was a friend, or that, you know, there feels like there's some, you know, somebody you thought was a friend, you find out that they were really they're not what you thought they were. Let's just put it that way, because it could be a whole bunch of scenarios. But I feel like you might find that out through the group dynamic. Or this group dynamic that you thought were cool, maybe you're going to find out that they really are not your kind of people anymore. Maybe you're just kind of like, wow, I didn't know you felt that way about that, you know. So it could be like some deal breakers coming up here, you know, or somebody your fifth house you're romantically involved with, and you might find out, you know, you're a member of the, of a what, you know, and if you find out this stuff about them, you maybe you can, you know, I don't know if I want to be involved with you. Or fifth house, your kids, there could be some stuff going down at your kids' school or something, where you find out that they're teaching some kind of a thing that you don't agree with, and you might be like, hey, wait a minute, I don't want that, you putting that stuff in my kid's head, you know. So just be aware of all that, but really it could be opportunity. You know, it could be a culmination of opportunity, even something that you started way back in like September, August to September of last year. You could be getting some kind of opportunity. Fifth house, fun, creativity. So there could be a positive spin on it, no doubt. Okay, here we got the first card for you is Strength. Next we have the King of Fire. So the King of Fire, you have to have strength because the King of Fire is bringing in some stuff here for you. He's going to be your advocate. Now look at how there's this juxtaposition of the lion and the lion. The two lions, one in this corner looking up and one in this corner, sort of not really looking up, but occupying that corner. He's kind of looking out that way, but there is this flow of this lion energy. So I want to bring up the Lion's Gate for you, which is of course the 8/8 portal back in August, or it could even be foreshadowing up until this upcoming August too. And even 8 is August sometimes, the 8 strength card. You know, because by then that Leo will be, and that was the second thing I was going to bring up. Then this Jupiter's going to be up in that 10th house. So some things could be happening now, but it could also be having strength and having patience until the next fire sign, which is the Aries ingress, which is later the month, or talking about all this influx of Aries energy into your 6th house of work. But something you've been waiting on, there's going to be some breakthroughs, and it's going to come through the help. My guides are saying the help and guidance of the King of Fire here. So the King of Fire could be an air sign, a fire sign person themselves, which would be a Leo or an Aries or a Sagittarius. Sun, rising, moon. A lot of times the King of Fire has this real kind of frantic, you know, too much energy. But in this case, I'm feeling like a real calm, like a lion purring. I feel like he's purring. So, or things are purring along or something. I'm feeling like this person might have really big hands too, because I'm seeing this big lion's paw. Well, there's a big lion's paw up there, but it's big. It's like here. It's showing, it's changing there. And this, I hear this purring, you know. You could be dealing with a Leo person that, you know, that makes you purr. I mean, maybe it's out of your friend group, a 5th house, it's romance. I mean, maybe you're going to meet somebody who's a Leo who's makes you purr, or you make them purr, or whatever. Or, you know, that there's something, there's a really good energy, though. It's not, I mean, King of Rods, again, could be sexual, too, but the vibe I get is not strongly sexual. It's more like courage, strength, patient. You know, it's a different kind of energy. Well, that could be in a sexual partner, too, could have those qualities, for sure. But it's going to be different in every case. You know what's grabbing my attention, too? They both have necklaces or something here, and with red jewels around their necks, if you look. So both cards have a lion. If you didn't see that, there's a lion and there's a lion. And she's got a red gem necklace, and he's got some kind of red gem. I don't know if it's a necklace or just a clasp that holds his cape on or whatever, but so red gem, immediately I think of rubies, but I think of garnets. These might be stones that you might want to work with. I know garnet is January's birthstone, but I do associate garnets with Scorpio. I think that is one of your stones, if I'm not mistaken, because astrology signs have stones associated with them too. And I am picking up that deeper, that dark garnet You know, even though it's not the color of this, I'm picking up that like really dark blood red, garnet colored gemstones. So if you're drawn to work with any of them, or maybe you want to wear them around your neck in a necklace, or, you know, even if you don't have a necklace, you can make up a little mojo bag, you know, with some stones and herbs and different things in it, and carry it around that area, your throat chakra. I'm getting some vibes about that for some people. All right, Scorpio, well, if you want to dive in and get a personal reading where we really look at everything of yours, and we'll talk about the Aries ingress, we'll talk about the eclipses, we'll talk about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. It's all under this Aries ingress reading this year, available for a limited time, only through my website. Don't be fooled by imposters. I've only got like 2 drops of water left in my water. I'm just going to have to fill my water up, Saggy. Well, let me serenade you while I do, because Sagittarius, you're such a crazy pants. A couple of times ago, a couple of videos ago, somebody posted, they said, you didn't do the song. And they go, well, I'll sing it. And they wrote, Sagittarius, you're such a crazy ass. That cracked me up so bad. Which, you know, that would fit too, but my version is you're a crazy pants. So either way, Sagittarius, you such a crazy pants. Oh, that cracked me up when I read it. It was so funny. But anyway, Sag, so here's the rollout for you. You know, you're having this eclipse up in your 10th house of career. And there's a lot of stuff in the counterpart down here in this Pisces. We've got the big stellium in the Pisces at the bottom of the chart. You know, you could get some kind of honor or award, some kind of recognition, but you also could have some big realizations that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this job anymore. Take this job and shove it. I'm not working here no more. You know, you could just be like, you know what? Or some of you may reach the top of the mountain, get to this big, you know, moment, and be like, you know what? I don't really care. You know, it's not going to be, it may not hold the satisfaction that you were hoping it would. You know, you may be kind of disillusioned about, like, well, I climbed to the top of this mountain and I did what I set out to do, I accomplished it, but I don't feel fulfilled by it. I don't even want to do it anymore. You know, you can have this big, for some this could be like that. For others of you, you know, there just could be a big change at your work or your career. You may decide to change. This could tie into moving also. All right, let's go ahead and get a couple of cards here and see what we got. We got the Two of Wands, making plans for your future. Yeah, looking out into your future plans. And 3, we got these are good because you got going in order. We got the 2 to the 3. It's moving in order. It's moving in stereo, life's a scene, except for my shoes. It's all inside of you. Alright, so you're moving in stereo. Cool. So, 2 of Wands is I'm looking out into the horizon. I've got the world in my hand. I've got a big idea here. I've got a big plan. But the sun is only rising or setting. It could even be looking like the setting sun, but you've got a new plan. And this is the next step. This is saying this is just the idea, and now you can actually see the plans coming to fruition. But it is still, 2s and 3s are low numbers. So we still are usually going to be at the beginning phases of something. And this is the beginning phases for many with all that big Aries energy and this new 0 Aries point for everyone. So that makes sense. But what you're imagining for your future could have long-term success and could be really big. It's a really big shoe here. Alright, Saggies, well, if you want to dive into your personal chart and we'll look at the whole shebang, we'll do the Aries ingress, the Saturn, Neptune, both of the eclipses. It's all under the blanket of that Aries ingress reading this year, available for a limited time. Next, we're going to look at the sign of Capricorn. All right, Capricorn, well, this is happening in your 9th house of higher education, but also 9th house is communing with your spirit guides, getting those big downloads from the universe. The counterpart of it, there's this big stellium down here in Pisces in your 3rd house. So maybe for some of you, I think like something you could have like a big breakthrough, something you've been learning or studying, where you can just put the book down. You know, that's really kind of what I'm getting. Because you get to a certain point, you know, or like just say you're learning tarot, for instance. You know, I wore that book out that it came with, the book that it came with in the you know, the book that the deck comes with, the Rider-Waite deck. You know, I wore it out and memorized all the definitions. Oh, here's one of your cards. And then after that, you know, you don't need the book anymore, because you start getting the messages straight from your higher spirit, or even like learning to play music. And then after you know, I don't need the scales anymore. I can just improv. You know, I can just improvise, because you learn it, and then there's this breakthrough. All the studying and all the working and all the, you know, trying to figure it out in your head, and then you just get the whoa. You know, I'm going to take the top card for this. The clouds part, and you get the knowledge, and you get the download, and you see the clear. You take off the training wheels. That's what my guides are saying. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Taking off, because this is third house too. This is, you know, movement. Maybe because there's all these children in your cards here. Maybe your child or your grandchild is you're gonna teach them how to ride a bike, and they're gonna take the training wheels off. But it's more of an analogy, a bigger analogy of life. This always reminds me of Germany. I even took a picture of this wall. There was this wall in Germany that had all these beautiful flowers, and there was thatched roof, you know, buildings behind. So whenever I see this card, it always reminds me of Germany. So that might be something for somebody out there. But really, the Six of Cups is just this card of going back to childhood memories, people from the past. Because we got a page, we got all these, well, not all three, but both the cards have children on them. So even though this isn't a children or childhood house that's getting activated, I mean, you will be when Uranus goes in there, or no, fifth house here. Uranus is in your fifth already, yeah. Third house can be like your old neighborhood, because even the house was grabbing my attention. This could be your old neighborhood where you grew up with. This could be some childhood friend who maybe moved away, or you did, and you could be reconnecting with them for sure. This could be the children's book you were always going to write, and you never got around to it, or the children's illustrations, or, you know, the toy you were going to develop, or the thing you were going to make for children, or the class you were going to teach or start, or, you know, the daycare, or the activity or thing that you were going to do, or the job you were going to get working with children. You know, whatever it is, this could be initiating that somehow, from what the cards are showing. But really, I'm feeling more like big breakthrough. Somebody out here is studying to be a teacher, and you're going to get certified, and then you can finally go ahead and be a teacher. Because teaching and learning and a higher source seeking is very, very prominent at this time too. And because it's the full moon, you could really get the big illumination, the big download, the big aha moment. That just puts things into perspective, is what my guides are saying. All right, Caps, well, if you want to really dive in, I do have this reading. It covers it all. Aries, Ingress, Neptune, Saturn, both the eclipses. It's a big one this year. So if you want to order, get over to my website and get it before this month's out, because then it'll be limited time offer. All right, Aquarius. Well, this is happening in your 8th house of joint finances, other people's money, sex, death, and taxes. Full moon there. I mean, here's what I pick up strong right off. I'm going to just say it. I'm getting it, so I'll say it. So here, this card flew out. Chariot. Somebody, you're going to find out your partner, well, maybe your partner, like your business partner. My guys are using the term embezzlement. You could find out something like that a partner's been, you know, doing something with the money on whatever level. Maybe it's a business partner. Maybe it's your partner. You know, sometimes people have secret bank accounts if you're coupled, you know, or they've been spending the money and hiding them on shoes and hiding them somewhere. Or what does the guy spend money on? You know, he's been spending money on baseball cards or whatever. You know, there could be some kind of thing like that where you find out about it, and it might be a little bit, you know, shocking or upsetting. But also, you know, it could be becoming aware of an investment opportunity, or an investment with a partnership. Like I told somebody else though too, now during this actual full moon eclipse, we are going to be in Mercury retrograde. So if you do find out an opportunity like that, cool, but you might want to hold off until after the Aries ingress, because actually the Mercury goes direct on the day of the Aries ingress, which is March 20th. So think about that. That might be something to think about. But you could hear about it. You could discover it. Or discover a way to make even passive income. You know, some kind of online business passive income thing. Now let's take a look at the cards here. You have the Chariot and the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is a person. It's a Scorpio, a Cancer, Pisces. That's also the other, will be in Pisces season during, this is the other half of that, your second house of money. Chariot says you can make a big score. That's what it says. Chariot also can be, if you plan on going somewhere with this, I feel like you could win some money. Or if there's some kind of, or is there not, that's not the Derby. That's not the Kentucky Derby with the horse racing. Or if you have a place where you can go to, because horse racing goes on all year round. We have 2 horse tracks where I live. Or maybe not anymore, but there used to be. There used to be the trotters and the whatever. The ones run with the buggy like him, and then the other ones are just, you know, on the, like the Kentucky Derby, that and like that on the back. You know, so if there's a horse track, you might go there. If you want to go to a horse track or even a horse show, because this is really coming through as horses riding on buggies and stuff. Or maybe even Amish country, who knows, but this feels more exciting than that. It doesn't feel like Amish country. All the stars, or some star-studded event, my guys are saying. You could meet somebody. I know these are money houses, but this could be strong sexual attraction too, 8th house. You know, you could meet somebody, Knight of Cups, whether, regardless of gender, that you're really, you know, infatuated with. I'm hearing infatuation. Do, 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 do. It's a Rod Stewart disco tune. So you infatuate me. You may be saying, infatuate me, baby. All right, so yeah, and traveling is good, some kind of trip, even though it's Mercury retrograde. Being victorious and triumphant is really the higher message of the Chariot. Maybe some of you might even go to Egypt, but I'm picking up horses, or go on some kind of horseback riding trail or trip, or visit a ranch if you don't already have horses, or something like that. There feels very strong horse energy. That being said, I'm wondering if there's not even some Sagittarius energy involved in this in some weird way for some, because Sagittarius is, of course, rules over horses too. Whatever the case, it looks like fun, but, you know, be on the lookout for, or if you're the one hiding the shoes or whatever, maybe find a new hiding place for your... Oh, okay, next we're going to move on to the sign of Pisces. All right, Pisces, let me get a drink of water and we're going to wrap it up. Well, Pisces, you're involved in this in a big way, because this is the other side of you, of your energy. And there's going to be a big stellium in Pisces on this date, at this moment. But it is in your 7th house of other people. You could become aware of something with another person. The eclipse can eclipse things out of your life, and it's a culmination. You may decide, I've had enough of you. We're done. You know, you may, relationships and partnerships could also be ending, I'll be honest. For somebody out there, or some people, I'm feeling like you're going to be aware that somebody who was in the friend zone, or it feels like for a lot of people it might be like a coworker, you know, somebody that's just, you know, never thought of romantically, all of a sudden you're going to think, hey, maybe they are, you know, maybe they are marriage material, or maybe they are, maybe we could be a good team, or, you know, maybe we could be a good partner. You can have that awareness with the full moon that can make it an awareness. It is an eclipse, though, so it could hit you like a bolt of lightning. When you've been, the love you've been looking for, it's been there all along. You talk to them every day, but you just never thought of them that way. Or, you know, I do feel like in some scenario there might be somebody that you always thought was cool, and they were attached, and they may, you know, come in and say, well, that they're divorcing their partner and they're going to be available again. Or that could be the case with you too. For some people, maybe there's somebody that you always kind of liked, but you were already in another relationship, and you might say, hey, well, life's too short. I'm you know, I'm going to go with this other person. Well, we'll see. It's going to be different for everybody, but I mean, it is in your house of partnerships. These cards are telling us that it is a completion of a karmic cycle. Yeah, so an eclipse in your 7th house is a completion of your karmic cycle in your relationship sector, for sure. You know, it is. And I was telling Virgo, this is the end of that cycle, which you are a part of. They're always go in opposite signs. So we have the eclipses in Pisces, Virgo, and then they're moving. Now they're going to be transitioning to Aquarius and Leo. Now, there is going to be one more eclipse in your sign later this year. Where's my eclipses? Here it is. It's going to be August 28th. There's going to be an eclipse in Pisces. I think that's the last one. There might be one more next year, but this cycle of disruption in your life is winding down. And things are changing so much for you too now that Saturn and Neptune are finally out of your sign. Saturn is, speaking of karma, I mean, Saturn is the lord of the karma. And so you've completed your bout with Saturn for another 30 years, right? So you got that going on for you. And also the nodes of fate, which are also very karmic, which determine the dang eclipses, is still in your sign too. So, you know, and you being the Pisces just in general, come on Pisces, you come in as an old soul, you come in with a lot of karma. You didn't come here to, my guys are saying, pussyfoot around. The shit they say, I swear to God, it's so funny. You didn't come here to pussyfoot around. I can't even say it without laughing, Pisces, because you came here to do some serious soul work, basically. That's what Pisces is here to do. So this is this big moment. And then this Queen of Pentacles is very much going to be a partner. Could even be a Virgo person, but could be any of the earth signs at Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. Could be the timing of the event, which is, of course, the full moon in Virgo, the full moon and lunar eclipse in Virgo. But I feel a lot of good vibes and comfort out of this. Like you're wrapping that up, this points. I always look at where this corn points, and it's only a 2-card spread, but it's pointing right up there at the thing, at the eclipse, right? And then this is softer and sheltered. Like this was rough. On whatever level. It could be work partnerships, it could be any kind of partnership. Open enemies, you know. Maybe somebody at work that was just on your ass and just always riding your ass, you know. And it was rough to get through, but you got through it. And now this is coming in, and you want to make it something. They want to make it something really different, and you want to make it something different. And you want to protect and bring them under your wing. The way, this goes right in here, you know, right under, and protected from all this harshness or whatever it is. Or it could be somebody going through a divorce. Maybe not you, but it could be somebody else. But this is different. And this is gentle, and this is protected, and this is nurtured. And this is untainted. Tainted love, whoa, tainted love. I don't know why you do that. First I ran to you, now I run from you. Yeah, this tainted love you bring in, gave you all. I can't remember the rest of it. I'm off key too. Okay, so there's something beautiful that could emerge from it, but you're still winding down this whole karmic cycle. So just keep that in mind. Again, I mean, this isn't going to be true for everybody, but if you order this reading, then I can see exactly in your chart where everything is. We'll talk about the eclipses. We'll talk about the Saturn-Neptune. We'll talk about the Aries ingress. It's all bundled up into this one reading this year of the Aries ingress. Only available till the end of the month of March, so if you want to get in on it, this is a good time to order, only through my website. Well, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Another eclipse season in the books. Let's see what the results are. Should be, exciting if nothing else. So, thanks for tuning in. I'll be back again soon with the next reading will be the March big monthly reading will be up next. If you like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Take care. Talk to you again.